So, hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics to perhaps the final DVD collection on the channel. Yeah, it's very sad it is. So yeah, it could potentially be the last DVD collection on the channel. It's also in love of the in-depth DVD collection series, as I've ended that series, well not entirely, of part 7 of the DVD collection. But as I've said in that video, I'm doing it with the big finishes starting with the monthly range and considering it with the books starting with the Virgin New Adventures. So without no further ado, let's showcase my entire Doctor Who DVD collection. An Unearthly Child, the pilot episode, and I quite like this one, not just episode 1 but the whole thing, because mainly people just watch this for episode 1, which is fantastic. But yeah, episode 2 and 3 and 4, a lot of people say it's just average or bad, but in my personal opinion, it's pretty good actually. I do like Unearthly Child. The Daleks, which is the episode which I'm currently watching actually. I'm on episode 3 so far, and it's just a great story. It doesn't really drag for me, but like Seeds of Doom, I have to be in the mood for it if I want to watch it all in one go. I like to have a break during the middle part. Yeah, great Dalek story from the 60s. One of my favourites actually from the 60s. Maybe my favourite from... Actually no, I forgot about the Daleks Master Plan. But yeah, definitely one of the best Dalek stories from the 60s. Edge of Destruction, a two-parter. Pretty good one. Marco Polo, which is an audio CD reconstruction, as you can see by here. All the missing episode ones are audio CD reconstructions. The Keys of Marinus, which I'll be reviewing shortly soon. The Aztec Special Edition, a very loved Hartnell historical, one of the best for a lot of people. The Sensorites. The Reign of Terror, not a bad episode. Planet of Giants, quite of an underrated one. The Dalek Invasion of Earth. The Rescue. The Romans, my favourite existing Hartnell story. It's just brilliant, that one. The Web Planet. The Crusade, which is a shame that's not getting animated for its own DVD release, because I would like to experience that because I cannot get into the reconstruction episodes. The Space Museum, which I actually like now on revisit of it, so that's pretty good. It's an underrated story. I feel quite bad for actually disliking it actually, so I think it's actually pretty underrated and good. The Chase, very silly Dalek episode. The Time Meddler, great historical. Galaxy 4, another underrated one. Not one of the best episodes, but it's still underrated. The prequel to the Dalek Master Plan, Mission to the Unknown. Mythmaker is one of the best historical stories in my opinion, that's just great. The Mother of All Hartnells, the Dalek's Master Plan, which I'll be soon to be reviewing, and most likely the review will be over an hour long. The Massacre, which needs to be recovered. It suffers the Enemy of the World a little bit when that wasn't recovered. It's rather forgotten. The Ark, a brilliant story in my opinion. The Celestial Toymaker suffers the Enemy of the World again. It needs to be recovered to fully appreciate it. The Gunfighters, underrated historical. Savages, one of my favourite Hartnells actually. That's a wonderful story. The War Machines. The Smugglers, one I can never complete this one. This is rather boring in my opinion. I can never get through that one. And the 10th Planet. Now to the second Doctor era with the fantastic, brilliant power of the Daleks. One of the best Doctor Who episodes ever. Just absolutely fantastic masterpiece which is missing entirely. The Highlanders. The Underwater Menace, which is definitely my least favourite second Doctor story, and it doesn't help that the reconstruction is absolutely god-awful. Yeah, watch my review for me moaning about that. The Moonbase, one of my favourite second Doctor stories, just incredible that one. The Macra Terror, works better on audio because it's so atmospheric. Not so sure if it would work as a TV episode though. The Faceless One's truly underrated. It's sad how underrated this story is. I looked on the DWM rankings and it's so low. It's unbelievable how low it is. It's one of the... just almighty it is, that story. One of my favourites again from the second Doctor era. I give it perhaps a 9 out of 10 now. Maybe even get a 10 if it exists, I don't know. Evil of the Daleks, again another brilliant Dalek story. Not as good as Power though, nowhere near as good as Power. Tomb of the Cybermen, which was rather not really liked when it was recovered in Hong Kong, but now it's got a nice reputation of being one of the best Doctor Who stories, which I don't agree with, but still it's a cracking story. The Abominable Snowmen, which not one of my favourites, still good. The Ice Warriors, fairly good story. The Enemy of the World, just brilliant, and it's so nice to have this one recovered. It's my favourite out of these two, absolutely. And I have got the limited edition slipcases of these two. So yeah, Enemy of the World's absolutely fantastic, that one is. The Web of Fear, Base Under Siege goodness, again fantastic. Fury from the Deep, you can't get more claustrophobic and atmospheric than this. It works so good on audio. Dark story that one is, some of the scenes are pretty dark. The Wheel in Space, I enjoyed that one, not a lot of people do. My ultimate guilty pleasure, The Dominators. The Mine Robber. The Brilliant Invasion with Kevin Stoney, who plays a fantastic villain all the time. Mavic Chen, Tobias Vaughan. And yet Tobias Vaughan's actually a very big character in the Doctor Who universe if you follow the books. The Crotons, underrated again, a guilty pleasure. The Seeds of Death. The Space Pirates, Robert Holmes' Dark Horse, as I like to call it. And we had the magnificent masterpiece, the best Doctor Who story, as everyone knows. It is my favourite Doctor Who story of all time, The War Games, just truly magnificent. Power of the Daleks does come close though, I will say that. Now to the third row, starting with the brilliant third Doctor John Pertwee era. Spearhead from Space. It is my least favourite out of season 7, but I still love it. I just love all these 7-parters here. Doctor Who and the Silurians, my favourite 1970s stories. It comes close with Horror Fan Rock and The Mind of Evil and Inferno. But this is a truly underrated story. Ambassadors of Death, again, underrated again. It's some of the best produced TV ever. David Whittaker really got the story going, but the other writers, they sort of lost what David Whittaker was doing in episode 1 and 2, so that's one of my negatives with the Ambassadors of Death. So that's slightly unfortunate, but yeah, David Whittaker didn't finish it. If he did finish it, it'd probably be a completely different story, a lot better to be honest if it was, because David Whittaker is one of my favourite Doctor Who writers. Inferno, which is signed by John Levine, which is a truly, truly brilliant masterpiece here. One of the more darker and gritty Doctor Who stories. It's like something Virgin would publish in a book, but oh my god, this is just absolutely incredible. Watch Inferno, it's just mind-blowing, or any of these. Season 7 is one of the best Doctor Who seasons of all time. Terror of the Autons. The Mind of Evil, and I have a huge love for this story, and this one's signed by Katie Manning. It's just absolutely incredible. My favourite Master story, at the time it was my favourite 1970s story. It was joint with Horror Fan Rock at the time. Horror Fan Rock just really beats us by really nostalgia, but still this story is bloody incredible. Really forgotten story, maybe because it just existed in black and white and took forever to get released on DVD, so it was rather a forgotten story and rather underrated, but I flippin' love that one. The Claws of Axos, which is very underrated, and Colony in Space, underrated again. First time watching it I didn't really like it, but second time I actually do appreciate it. The Daemons, which is Hammer House of Horror goodness, I do find it slightly overrated, but still good. About an 8 out of 10. The Day of the Daleks, which again I have a huge fondness for. I would say it almost gets on my top 10 Third Doctor stories. Actually it might. Yeah, a really good story. The Curse of Peladon, I'm not really a big fan of the Peladon stories. I'm not really that interested in getting the audio set in Peladon, neither the book Legacy. I'm just not really interested in Peladon at all. The Sea Devils. The truly, truly underrated Mutants. I think it's brilliant when I rewatched it. Yeah, a bit tatty in places, but still I like it. Another underrated story, The Time Monster. I don't really dislike any of the Pertwee stories, and even the Troughton stories. It's really just the Peladon stories which I don't really like. The Three Doctors, magnificent. Carnival of Monsters, Robert Holmes' underrated story there. Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks, The Green Death, my favourite companion exit. The Time Warrior, truly brilliant. That's really going up in the rankings, that one. Invasion of the Dinosaurs, another brilliant story by Malcolm Hulke, who usually does brilliant all the time. Death to the Daleks, a nice fun story. Monster of Peladon, I prefer it to Curse of Peladon if I'm honest. But a lot of people prefer Curse of Peladon to Monster of Peladon, but I'm the other way round. Maybe because the Ice Warriors are more enemies in this one than Curse. Planet of the Spiders, which is not really my favourite regeneration story. We're a doctor, it's still good. Robot, truly brilliant watch. The Ark in Space, watched this one at a young age and I think it's absolutely brilliant. But when I've experienced more Doctor Who stories, there are better ones than the Ark in Space for me. Sontaran Experiment, nice two-parter. Actually, obviously that's my favourite two-parter. Genesis of the Daleks, truly a magnificent masterpiece. Not my number one story, but still absolutely fantastic. Revenge of the Cybermen really comes down to nostalgia, as I watched this one at a really young age. So I sort of do like it. It's a 7 out of 10. I still like that episode. But not one of the best. Terror of the Zygons, of course, brilliant story. We're in season 13 now. A lot of people's favourite season. Planet of Evil, which is my least favourite out of season 13. It's okay. Pyramids of Mars, which is just fantastic. My favourite out of season 13. And it was voted number 1 for the most anticipated DVD release, and I can see why. The Android Invasion, really underrated, that one. The Brain of Morbius, good old Hammer House of Horror goodness again. Of course I'm going to like that one. The Seeds of Doom, again absolutely brilliant. The Mask of Mandragora, very underrated, that one. It gets rather shadowed by the other season 14 stories like Deadly Assassin, Robots of Death and The Talons of Weng-Chiang. Anyway, we have Hand of Fear, which I think it's not very good in my opinion. I don't really like that one. Good ending scene for Sarah Jane, but the story is just really dull. Deadly Assassin, a very psychedelic story, especially in episode 3. And I do really like episode 3, it's really mental. The Face of Evil, which is alright. Robots of Death, absolutely fantastic. And The Talons of Weng-Chiang, my favourite story from the Philip Hinchcliffe era, and what a way to end it, magnificent. Horror Fan Rock, the first Doctor Who story I watched at Christmas Day 1999, just wonderful. And yeah, the scenes I remember the most from this story was the Rutan climbing up the lighthouse, and this character by here, I remember him having a really creepy smile. It used to scare me as a kid. Yeah, brilliant story. Got me into horror, it did, so yeah, I owe a lot to that story. Oh, they're just the wrong way round. The Invisible Enemy, underrated, again a little bit bonkers, that one. Image of the Fandau, or rather forgotten story, but I really like that one. Good old Hammer House of Horror goodness again. Sunmakers, another underrated one. Underworld, don't waste your time with that. It's really not worth it. Invasion of Time, yeah, I like that one. Down to the Key to Time era with the Ribos Operation, which is pretty good. Pirate Planet, which I quite like. Stones of Blood, which I don't like. This is my least favourite. And I find it very overrated. I'm not a fan of that one. I love the first half, but then it's so underwhelming with the second half. I just hate the direction it goes. Third row, we have The Androids of Tara, which is my favourite out of the Key to Time series. Or era, is really good. Power of Kroll, which is pretty good, not one of the best Robert Holmes stories. And The Armageddon Factor. I do like this one, but not really like to watch it all in one go. It's rather draggy if you do that, so have a break near part 3. Destiny of the Daleks. The reason why this one sucks so much is because it's so tatty. It's really tatty and cheap. The Daleks are cheap. The characters, the acting is bloody awful, it is. not from the main cast, but the supporting characters, it's just absolutely god-awful. That execution was rubbish in that one. And the story isn't really that interesting either. City of Death, which of course is a classic, the best out of the late Doctor Who stories, absolutely. Even though one comes close to it. Creature from the Pit, which I do like, shoot me if you want to. Nightmare of Eden, it's a really good story, but execution was rather naff. There's a good story if you can look over how it was executed. Horns of Nimon, there are elements in this I like, but the story is just absolutely dreadful. Shada, the incomplete Doctor Who missing episode, and yeah, it's good. I wouldn't say I praise Shada though. The Leisure Hive, absolutely rubbish. I cannot stand this story. It's one of the worst Doctor Who stories of all time. I hate everything about this story. Absolutely rubbish. That'll be a horrible one to review, that will. Megalos, which is okay. I sort of like that one, but again, it's really cheap in some places. And yeah, Megalos actually returns in a Doctor Who story I can't remember of it. Either as a comic, I can't remember, but yeah, Megalos does return. Full Circle, State of Decay, and Warrior's Gate. I am not a fan of the East Space trilogy. I find it really dull. I don't like Full Circle that much. Real drag. State of Decay, it's alright. I don't really like it, as some people do. And Warrior's Gate is just a complicated mess. The Keeper of Traken, this is the one which is very close to the City of Death. I think this one's absolutely fantastic, as the Guardians of Prophecy really helped me out liking the story a lot more. Legopolis, alright, it's okay. Now to the 5th Doctor era with Castrovalva. Ugh. It's so rubbish in my opinion. Part 1's good, but after that I can't stand it. It's quite of a weird story during the second half a little bit. Anyway, Fall to Doomsday, pretty good actually, I like that one. Kinder, massively overrated, can't stand this one. Really psychedelic story, and I sort of do like those sort of stories, but this one's just maybe too psychedelic for me. I just find it so weird. And I just don't really care for the characters either. I didn't care if they lived or die. Acting's okay in it, well actually quite good in it, but I'm not a fan of it. The Visitation, pretty good story, not one of my favourites again. Black Orchid, yeah, I quite like this one. Peter Davison doesn't like this one at all, and I think Sarah Sutton doesn't either. Oh yeah, I like it, it's a fun two-parter. Earthshock, absolutely incredible 80s story. Yeah, I really like that one. It's another one I watched at a young age. Really good story. Time Flight, complete garbage, but I like this garbage in my opinion. It's a good laugh when I watch this one. But yeah, I don't recommend anyone else to watch it, though. It's just a really bad, guilty pleasure. Arc of Infinity, with an absolutely rubbish cover. I gotta say the same thing with Time Flight. That is a god-awful cover. I can even make a better one than that in no time at all, and everyone else can as well who use Photoshop. It's bloody awful. Arc of Infinity, yeah, back to this. Again, the cover's awful. And Tegan looks bloody weird on the cover, looks really high. Rubbish story. And Omega isn't justified at all. Not as good as, well actually nowhere near as good as the Three Doctors. Snake Dance, I prefer it to Kinder because it's not as psychedelic. Still, it is pretty psychedelic, but not as much as Kinder. Yeah, it's okay. Mordred Undead, which starts off the Black Guardian trilogy, which I absolutely despise this trilogy, I cannot stand it. With Mordred Undead, it's a okay start for this, the trilogy. Terminus, absolutely rubbish. Just rubbish. And then we have something even more rubbish in my opinion, Lightenment. This is probably one of the worst, again, one of the worst Doctor Who stories I have ever watched. Can't stand that one. I really cannot stand the Black Guardian trilogy at all. The King's Demons, a nice two-parter. The Five Doctors, absolutely brilliant. Warriors of the Deep, absolutely cheap, rubbish, tatty crap. The Awakening, that's okay. Frontios, absolutely fantastic in my opinion. I really do like this episode. Really bleak it is. Really like that one. Resurrection of the Daleks, which is... I'm not really a big fan of it. But it's okay, it's watchable. Planet of Fire, pretty good again. The Caves of Androzani, a brilliant episode. I don't like it like a 10 out of 10. I don't praise the story, but still it's wonderful nonetheless. The Twin Dilemma, absolutely horrible. Don't watch that one. Attack of the Cybermen, yeah, good story, that's pretty good. Vengeance on Varos, one of the best Sixth Doctor stories for many. Not too sure about myself though. Mark of the Rani, underrated. The Two Doctors, brilliant because we have good old Patrick Troughton playing the Second Doctor. Timelash, cheap, very very cheap story. Revelation of the Daleks, don't really like that one. L2 Trov the Time Lord with Mysterious Planet, which is pretty good, I like that one. Mind Warp, pretty good. Terror of the Vervoids, absolutely rubbish. And The Ultimate Foe, which is a pretty good story, I like that one. And back to the 7th Doctor here, which I covered not too long ago, about 2 days ago. Time the Rani, which is not good at all. Paradise Tower is my favourite from season 24, and one of my favourites from the 7th Doctor era. Delta and the Bannermen, one of the most bonkers Doctor Who stories ever. Dragonfire, again pretty bonkers, with the cliffhanger actually being a cliffhanger. Yeah, pretty good. Remembrance of the Daleks, a lot of people's favourite, not my favourite from the 7th Doctor era, because I still find it quite overrated. Still, good story at an 8 out of 10, because what it actually does is pretty good, but I don't rank it as a classic Doctor Who episode like a 10 out of 10. The Happiness Patrol, it's okay. As I said, the first time I watched it when I was quite young, I absolutely hated it, but now I'm a bit more older now. It's average in my books. Silver Nemesis is with Warriors of the Deep to be one of the most cheapest Doctor Who stories of all time. The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, absolutely incredible, really good story, pretty creepy. Battlefield, need to rewatch this one, but there was some stuff I didn't like about it, but some stuff I did like. Ghostlight by Mark Platt, it doesn't really help that all the explanation was cut out, so that's why it's so flippin' difficult to know what was going on in that one. The Curse of Fenric, fantastic stuff there, really good story that one is, one of the more darker 7th Doctor stories, really good old Virgin stuff by there, Virgin book stuff. So yeah, definitely recommend that story if you are a fan of the Virgin New Adventures. Survival, which is okay. The TV movie, which I like, a lot of people don't like it. K9 and Company, A Girl's Best Friend, I haven't watched it, I don't really want to, because a lot of people say it's rubbish. Then for a documentary I have More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS, which I haven't seen. And then here we have the Lost in Time box set, definitely get this one to experience some of the missing episodes, but yeah, it is a bit outdated now. So that was my Doctor Who DVD collection. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. So see you in that video, and have a good one.